from poisoning. I know, if you get to think about that, think about how many cemeteries are close to waterways.
That's not glass. That's the metal. It's metal.
It's down in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed that because that's crazy. Water hits it and they're gone.
Well, I've got Ricky with me and Mrs. Loudermouth here at the Perry Historical Society. Guys, if you are in the area, I promise you want to come and check this place out. It's a beautiful museum. But this is something you're not going to get to see every day. This is from the 1860s. It's a metal coffin with silver handles. It's got the little window here. This is what they used to put the soldiers in, right? Confederate soldiers. And they would put them in here and put ice on them and keep them preserved as long as they could before they would do the burial. But Mrs. Loudermouth was just telling us that it took 4 people to get this thing here. It's so heavy.
It's heavy. Oh, solid.
4 guys had to carry that in.
Heavy. And that's one, reason that pallbearers got started.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a real need for them, because you just couldn't carry something like that, without the help. Right after we received that, and we received it because the funeral home made an addition on their building, and they found it up under the house.
Mm-hmm.
So let me explain briefly that, that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we go touring, wherever we go, if it's a historical house, I ask, or if it's an old house, I ask if they have any coffins there. And 9 times out of 10, they do. And they'll have them in a closet like that because people, if they had the money to buy them, ordered them and stored them.
Okay.
That's what happened with that family. They ordered them and they stored them. Thank goodness that one did not have to be used.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just pushed way up under the house. And we found it. And so, today we can learn from it.
Mm-hmm. But
not long after we received it, probably about 3 weeks, had an interesting phone call one morning. This lady said, "Can you tell me if there was a cemetery on my property?" And I said, "Well, maybe, if I know where you're talking about." It's a strange way to start a conversation.
Right.
So anyway, she told me the property address, and I said, yes, there was a cemetery there. And when they came in and built that subdivision, they just...
Right over it.
But is that the same one with where everybody thinks that's a mass grave over in the Evergreen?
No,
oh, okay.
No, this wasn't even an Evergreen. This is between out toward Bon Air. Okay. But I asked her why was she asking that question, and it was because when they were plowing their garden, they found one of those silver handles. Huh. So, they knew that it was a coffin handle. So she brought it in, and it's exactly like those handles.
It's got the little faces on them. I remember that the last time I was...
And then a few weeks after that, we went out to a cemetery that's out on Elko Road. And you have to, go down into the woods to see it. But the Laidler family owned that land, and they were extremely wealthy. They owned a lot of land. Well, anyway, their cemetery is just in ruins because of the wild animals, the elements, all of it. Those beautiful marble tombstones are just laying over. And while we were out there, there was one grave that was open, an open grave. And it had one of those coffins, not one of these, but the later model that I was just describing, was there in the grave, exposed, and the aluminum was peeled away.
Oh,
wow. So that I had been reading about, I got to see with my own eyes. And that's so, good. I know that there are probably a lot of those around.
Oh, yeah.
But not everybody had the money to do that, so there are other ways. There were a lot of pine boxes, but there were also a lot of burials where there were no boxes. People just had to
lay
do
them in a rag or
what
sheet.
they would do would be to bed the grave with bricks and then just
okay.
lay out the body on top of the bricks, and then they would build a, kind of like a little vault. 6 feet under, vault with bricks. And a lot of times they would have those made before, the person died. Because if you think about it, if there are no funeral homes, and let's just say you're a widow woman and you lose one of your, children, then you're dependent upon the men of the community or whoever could help you, you know, to quickly build a pine box, because they were not embalming, and all you have is 24 hours before the body begins
starts to decompose.
to swell. And so, you know, they had to make some hasty decisions sometimes. And so it was only the very wealthy that could afford this kind of thing.
Can you tell me the name of the gentleman who built the 4-foot wall above and 4 foot below in the Evergreen Cemetery?
Yeah, that's...
It's not Swift, is it?
No.
Okay, yeah.
No, the Swifts are back over this way. I can in just a second.
Atkins?
If I get a picture of it.
Hey, yeah, David.
I didn't want to take it.
Yeah, no. Go ahead, bro.
That's just cool.
Oh, there's so much cool stuff here. It's just crazy.
Dr. Rudd.
Dr. Wood, yeah. Okay.
No, Dr. Rudd. Or I guess you pronounce it that way.
Is he the only one in that
He and
enclosure?
his wife.
Okay. And the story goes is and we'll sit down here. The story goes is he built the wall to protect him from the devil after he died. Is that right?
That's right. It had a top over it, but with the elements and time, the top is gone, and only the gate and the wall, is there. Yeah, the story goes that he gave the key, to the pastor and told him to throw it in the creek. Because he was afraid of the devil, and he didn't want, access inside
his grave.
He had a shallow understanding, I would say. But yes, that is told as the truth.
Okay, I'm going to pause this.